Hello and welcome to the Tarot Podcast with Tracey-Anne. So if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that when I use the tarot, I don't use it in a fortune-telling, predict the future type way. And there is a really strong reason for this. It's not because I completely disbelieve in predictions or psychic abilities. I personally don't really have any, but I use the tarot as a tool to connect more deeply with yourself. And why this is, the reason that this is better is, or I think it's better, is that it's a way to empower yourself. So very often my clients will say, I've been told by psychics in the past that I'm going to get some money, but it hasn't shown up. And this is where I think, psychic people, fortune tellers, whatever you want to call them, if they are saying to people, I can see some money in your future, it becomes quite demoralizing as the client who is in a position where the money's not showing up. And so I like to use the tarot in a way that we go, okay, let's assume that more money is coming to you. And sometimes money will come from unexpected places. I know of people that have had inheritance from family members that we all sort of dream about that, don't we? A long lost family member leaving their fortune. So I know that's happened to some people, and it does happen. But you can't rely on that because it rarely happens. You can't rely on a lottery win because, again, that rarely happens. So what can you do in order to say to the universe, I'm ready to receive, I'm ready to have more money in my life? And I think that the answer usually always boils down to stepping up and doing something to bring that money in. It could be as simple as selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace or, Vinted or whatever to get money through the door. It could be that you take your first steps on that new business idea. But what the tarot will do is it will help you to connect with that feeling a little bit more deeply so that you are able to meet what is in the universe for you. I personally believe that we can do most things that we set our minds to, that we want to do. Everybody is in their own individual position. So when I'm speaking in these podcasts, you have to kind of relate it to you, to what you need, to your personal scenario. So for example, if you are somebody who has a business who's doing over 25 grand a year, 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, you are going to hear what I say very differently to somebody who perhaps is a single parent on benefits, perhaps because working, is very difficult. You're going to hear what I say very differently. But what I would ask everyone to do is, wherever you are, whatever your position, whatever your situation is, ask yourself the question, what can I do with what I have? And sometimes you will be really stuck. Sometimes it's, for example, if I was a single parent now, I wouldn't be able to work in the evenings. I wouldn't be able to work early in the mornings by seeing clients because I have a 4 and an 8-year-old at the time of recording this. They need to be fed. They need to be put to bed. They need input from a parent. And so depending on where you are in your life, depending on what your situation is, we're all going to have different limitations. This brings me very neatly onto, when you hear people say, we have the same hours in the day as Beyonce. It's always Beyonce. I don't know why. But it's not true. Beyonce will tell you she has somebody who runs her house. She has people who help her to do the daily things in life that we don't, all necessarily have. Some people have a cleaner. Some people don't have a cleaner. Some people have somebody who cooks their food for them. Some people don't have that. So we are all coming at life from our own lens in our own ways. But with tarot is a tool a bit like a hammer that anyone can get their hands on. And I recommend that everybody have a deck of cards, some kind of cards that you resonate with. In my Learn Tarot course, I recommend a set of Rider-Waite cards that, they've got lovely, they're bright and they're very detailed. And I recommend that if you want to learn tarot. But, not everyone needs to learn tarot. Some people just need to connect with a deck of cards in their own way and read what the author has written. So the reason that I don't ever want to predict the future or tell people to look out for what's coming up is I think it can cause issues and problems. Seven of Swords, for example, is about betrayal and looking over your shoulder and watch out. I think that we always have to look out for people that may be wanting to betray us. That's always a thing that's going to happen. But, what can happen with tarot cards, and I've seen it happen even in my business, even with the way that I use tarot cards with people, is it can shake people because it makes you think of things that you perhaps weren't facing. That's the point of tarot. It's a counseling tool. It's a talking topic of pulling up cards, looking at what their meanings are, looking at how that relates to you, and then figuring out what actions you will take off the back of pulling those cards. And if you're not doing it in that order, if you're not questioning yourself more deeply with the cards that you pull, if you're just going, I need to look out for the fact that somebody's betraying me, you have to be so careful, because something like the Seven of Swords says, you're right, that person is betraying you, that you've been thinking is betraying you. But the problem is you could be wrong. I think the point is that if that's what you think and that's what you feel, you have to trust and develop that instinct and follow it in, as the best way that you possibly can. Now, I recommend everybody get a deck of cards. And if you want to learn tarot, you can learn tarot through me. There are other people, but I've got a very comprehensive course. And I talk through all the different decks of cards that you can connect with, that I have, but there are loads out there. And have a play. The other thing you can do is book a reading with somebody, someone like me that uses tarot in a way to empower you. So the way that I use tarot is if you've broken up with your boyfriend and you want to know if they're going to come back, I'm probably not the person. But if you are really struggling with your purpose in life, or if you are wondering which turn you should take, how you make a decision about something, if you're wondering what the next steps are for you, if you're looking to start a business, or you're looking to just improve your income and your mood levels, then I'm your girl. Because I'm all about empowering. It's all about how do you take the bull by the horns. And also within how I work, we're looking at energetic healing as well. So, I work with a lot of people that have ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, women going through the menopause or perimenopause. I'm only 37 at the time of recording, and I've been on HRT now for nearly a year, and that it took a lot of fighting to get that because I'm so young, but I do have a perspective of the negative symptoms of those things. And so I like science. I like medicine. I like looking at what the blood work is on things. I don't think that we should ever have things instead of, you can have Reiki healing and have chemotherapy if that's what you need. You can have Reiki healing and eat an organic diet and still need to take a paracetamol. It's not the absence of, it's about taking a 10-pronged approach to help you, begin the healing process within your body at a cellular level, but also to actually start the journey of taking ownership of where you're at, so that you're not, I hate using this word because it really offends people, but stepping out of being that victim, and, being able to manage your energy levels in a way that helps you to really move forward. with a society now that is so overwhelming and so tricky to navigate because of, the government factors of the country that you might live in, things can be quite difficult. And we are much more awake now, and we are much more on a journey where we're open to this kind of thing. We're open to using the tarot as a tool that helps us to heal. Coupled with the tarot, energy healing is such a wonderful thing. So I use Reiki and sound healing in my practice, and I do distance Reiki as well, which is a fabulous tool. I run that in 2 different ways. So I will see people over Zoom, 1-to-1, or you will just send me what you need, and I will send the Reiki to you in a distant way. Some people can't get their heads around that. That's fine. These services are not for everybody, but for the people that can tune into them, or if you're just feeling a bit curious about what that might be, then it probably will be amazing for you to have some kind of session where you get to understand things. Now, using the tarot is such a powerful tool. I don't think anybody should be without it, but some people are quite afraid of tarot. And it's, that I don't think anybody should be afraid, but if you are, you are. That's just how it is. Because maybe you're worried that the death card's going to come out. Maybe you're worried that you're going to get the Tower or the 9 of Swords or something that makes you feel harrowed inside. And so for that, I recommend having a look at oracle cards, because oracle cards are much more gentle. But what they actually enable you to do is connect just in a different way. And on a final note, because I'm going to end now, I encourage, if you followed me for a long time, you'll know, I positively encourage reading the booklet that comes with your deck of cards. For some reason, it got a bit skew-whiffed somewhere where you're not allowed to read the book because that means you're not a reader and whatever. If I'm giving somebody a reading, I'm going to read the book of the cards that I have pulled, from the deck that I'm pulling. There's a couple of ways that I do it, but also the reason I do it. So the reason I do it is the author intends it to you in a different way. Like they have designed their cards, they've written their words, they are giving a perspective on these tarot cards, which when you're pulling those tarot cards, you need that. The other thing that you have to be really careful of is when you are, especially if you're giving a reading to somebody else, if you want to learn tarot for giving readings to other people, then you definitely want to buy my course. But if you are giving somebody a reading, what you do is you give your perspective on the card first. You go, this is great. Here's what I'm seeing. You ask the client, or how I do it anyway, you go, what's coming up for you when you look at this card? What are you seeing? How is this helping you to connect more deeply with yourself? And then I go, let's have a look at what the author's written and see if we get anything deeper. And that will spark a whole other. It's not you haven't got to remember all these tarot cards and be perfect and get it right. It isn't about that. It's about meeting your client or the person that you're reading for where they are so that you can help them get the best results out of the reading. And that's all it is. And if you are somebody that wants to read to predict the future, you can still do that with my course. But what I would say is support people. So if you say, I see lots of money coming up, tell them, look, this is getting you to think about money. How can you improve your money situation? How can you step up to the universe and meet this? How can you actually get it for yourself? Because sitting around waiting for something to happen is not the answer. And so that's why I want to use tarot in this kind of more empowering coaching sort of style. Now, if you want to work with me, there's lots of ways. You can go to ta-tarot.com and meet me there, where you can book readings, you can book coaching sessions, and you can get distant healing and Reiki and sound healing as well. So I hope you enjoyed this very short introduction to my podcast, and I will see you next time.